Yo, what up, guys? So we're exactly halfway through the week. We already did 3.5 days. Morning shifts over on Thursday. Um, Today's Thursday, so we're halfway. But I just wanted to talk a little more on flexibility because I'm always hearing people say that it's not flexible. You have to work all crazy type of hours. I mean, you make your own schedule. You say how long you want to be out there and at what time. I don't get how that's not flexibility. But I just wanted to kind of talk about my own experience when it comes to flexibility. When I had my W-2 job, the main thing for me right now, having a 1-year-old daughter, what really hit hard when I first had her before she was 1 year old, and she's just months old, about, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months around then, is when the holidays hit. And they were asking at my job, well, you can have Christmas Eve off, but not Christmas Day, or vice versa. You can have, Christmas Day off, but not Christmas Eve, whichever, backwards. So, and then same for New Year's. You can't have New Year's Day off, but you can have New Year's Eve off, or do you want New Year's Day off and not New Year's Eve? And so that is flexibility. And to decide, you know what, I'm not working those days because I'm not working Thanksgiving, I'm not working Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, because those are slow days anyways, for any business. Unless you're at Walmart or something like that, then yeah, you'll be busy because people are buying gifts. But most places like my W-2, we weren't that busy on holidays. And so I'd rather be with my family. Who doesn't? But the fact, even when I had a cook job, I've worked in the cannabis industry for 15 years. And all those jobs, they constantly were like, well, you have to come in Thanksgiving. It's a very busy day. It's like, dude, I have a family. Like, the fact that I have to ask you as a grown man if I can have the day off, whether it's a holiday or any day, that's not flexibility. So a W-2 is not flexibility. So the main thing for me is having the days I want off without any consequence of being told, no, you could get written up. So that's flexibility. Another thing they say is, well, you got to work all week. That's not flexibility. Who says you have to work all week? It all depends on what your financial goals are. When I had a W-2 job, $1,000 a week was more than enough because I was single. Well, I had my girlfriend, which is now my wife, but we didn't have a kid. We barely had any bills. I didn't even have a Netflix subscription. I didn't have anything. All I had was a car, the insurance, and I lived in a studio with my girlfriend, now my wife, and I paid $400 a month for that rent. And so making $4,000 almost per month in 1 year, living in a studio, making less than $50,000 a year, I saved over $15,000. So $15,000 with $1,000 a week, but I had to work 5 days a week. This week alone, Monday I made 400, grossed 400. Tuesday I grossed 250, and Wednesday, yesterday, I grossed 350. That's already a little over $1,000, $1,017. That 1,000 I made every week, it was more like 850, 900 because I had to pay taxes on that. And so here it's kind of like you have your expenses too. So that $1,000 minus about 150 in gas. And there's wear and tear, but that wear and tear, there is nothing to fix. So there is no cost other than the gas for this specific week. So in 3 days, I made what I used to make in 5. And basically, it all depends on how much do you need. I have a friend, his bills are very low. His car's paid off. He's, renting a room, very low cost. In 3 days, he can make Actually, in 2 days, he can make his rent. And then he doesn't have car payments. Basically, it's just food after that, and like a couple subscriptions and his phone bill. He doesn't need to be out there 7 days a week in order to make ends meet. And when I was living in that studio and I had a very low cost, and a very simple lifestyle and cost of living, I didn't need that much. So with Uber and Lyft, if your goal is you only need $4,000 a month, you only need to work like 3 days. You have like 4 days off. People I pick up at Amazon, they're making $700 a week in 5 days, and they have to be on a schedule. They have to come in on holidays. They have a boss they have to listen to. So when people say there's no flexibility in this, that's because they're probably bad at money, bad at managing their finances, managing their car maintenance, and probably pushing their car to limits when they know they need to go get maintenance on it. And instead of doing that, they're going out on the weekend and blowing their money. So there's massive flexibility in this. So back to when I was in that studio, $1,000 a week allowed me to not only go out, buy whatever I wanted, and still pay all my bills, and still that year I saved $15,000 with $1,000 a week. Now I make $1,000 in 3 days. And so it's Thursday, I'm almost at $1,200, and it's only 10:50 in the morning. I could be done for the week based on that. But now I have a kid. I'm in my mid-30s. I'm trying to retire one day. I'm trying to maintenance my property, which is paid off, and it still costs money. So people think because you have a home, you're gonna get rich. It's the opposite. Having a home, it's a money pit, and it costs a lot of money. So as I've gotten older, when I was in that studio, I was in my mid-20s. Now I'm in my mid-30s. I have a different lifestyle, and I have a 1-year-old daughter, and I want to retire. I don't want to work the rest of my life. And on top of that, with the whole self-driving car stuff, we definitely don't have 20, 30 years of driving left. I say we still have 5 at least, maybe even 10 of having this gig work, more particular rideshare, because gig work's still going to be thriving more on the food delivery. Robots can't go taking cases of water up 3 stories. So I think in the gig economy, deliveries are really going to still survive for a lot longer than the rideshare driving people around game. And so now that my costs are more expensive, I have bigger goals than before, than just saving, $1,000, $1,500 a month. Now I'm trying to provide for my wife, which doesn't work anymore because of my choice to have her be a at-home mom. And also it's better for us tax-wise for her not to work, so that the government actually pays half our medical, and then Uber and Lyft pay the other half. So we have a really high level. We have Sharp Insurance. If you Google it, you'll see they're #1 in San Diego for health insurance. I don't pay anything out of pocket because she doesn't work. If she worked, we'd make too much. We'd make like 140 grand combined. And all of a sudden we're in a high tax bracket, and now we have to pay for everything. So now that I have these higher goals, I decided instead of working 3 days to make $1,000 and be good with that, I'm working 5, 6, 7 days to make 2,000, to make double that. And you would think, well, when do you have a life if you got to work 7 days? On Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm done by 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning. And then I go home. We enjoy the weekend, we enjoy the day, and I'm still hitting my goals of 1,800, 2,000, and I'm essentially off the weekends. I work the weekends, but by 10 in the morning, what's even going on anyways? That's when the day's barely starting on the weekends. So I'm not missing out on life. We get to go to the zoo. We're doing stuff all day long on the weekends. And again, flexibility. My wife used to be a dance instructor, and now she's a stay-at-home mom, but she still has all these friends that are in dance and all that, and they have events on the weekends. So my wife decides, I wanted to go to this dance event. I have the flexibility to say, well, I'm not going to just stay home and do nothing. I want to work. I want to make some money. So I have the flexibility. I don't have to call in and be like, hey, do you guys need me to cover a shift? There's more flexibility. Like, you can work as much as you want, as much as you need to hit your goals. If it's, making 1,000 a week, you could be done in 3 days, 4 days at most. And so, again, I have that flexibility. So when people say there is no flexibility, they don't know what they're talking about. This gig is all flexibility. And so that's just my little rant on the flexibility when it comes to rideshare and gig work. But yeah, man. So far this week, Lyft, we're already at $715. It's only Thursday. Then we got Uber at $350. DoorDash, my best DoorDash week. I've only been doing DoorDash a couple weeks. I decided to put it as a filler because I'll start at 4 in the morning. Lyft and Uber rideshare are just going bananas at that time. But then come 10, 11 o'clock, it starts to slow down. By 12 o'clock, it's dead for rideshare. So then DoorDash comes in for the lunch hour, and it's been really great. Like yesterday, I would have only had $300 if I didn't have DoorDash, and the lunch hour was busy, made an extra $50 in barely any miles, because food delivery, it's like way less miles on your car. And so it was $50, ended up $356 for the day yesterday on a Thursday, and was done by 5 p.m. Went home. I could have kept working. It was busy. But I have the flexibility to decide, you know what, $350 is good enough at 5 p.m. Let me go home and enjoy dinner with my wife and my daughter. Flexibility. And if I wanted to, I could have hit 400, but I probably would have been done like at 7 p.m., 7:30. And it's, I got to have a life, and I also don't want to burn out. And that's why I also have the weekends essentially off. I don't go all day. And like I said, if my wife wants to go to some event, then I can work all day. So yeah, that's kind of my rant on flexibility and how great Uber and Lyft and the gig economy are for flexibility. So yeah, we're at almost 1,200 for the week, and so far it's only Thursday in the morning, and the World Cup just started, so it's about to get pretty busy. At 12 p.m. today's the first day of the World Cup. Mexico plays, but I decided, usually I work till 5 p.m. on Monday through Thursday, but guess what? Flexibility. I decided, no, I'm gonna go home and enjoy the Mexico game, because I am Mexican. And so I'm gonna enjoy that game, and I'll be back out tomorrow, Friday. And normally Fridays I finish really early, 10 in the morning, 11. But my wife wants to do a couple things with her friends or her dance club or whatever, she has planned for Friday. And I've decided, you know what? I'm going to work longer than I normally do, because the World Cup's playing and US plays tomorrow. And they don't play till like 7 or 8 p.m. So I'm going to drive possibly up until that point. So I'm going to have a really long day, but why? Flexibility, because I choose to, and it matches up with my specific goals of needing a specific number in order to save for retirement, in order to save to maintenance my home, in order to save for my daughter and her future, whether it be school or saving up for her IRA account, retirement account, saving up so that when she's 18 and I show her about economics and business and all that, she can start her own business. So yeah, guys, that's my rant on flexibility. Some people say it's not flexible. I don't know what they're talking about. All right, guys, I'll have a video probably for Sunday just to hit off the numbers. I'm trying to go for $2,000 this week, gross numbers, of course. If we can hit over $2,000, that would be great. But peace out, guys. Appreciate you listening to my rant. Flexibility.